What the? Okay, so why couldn't I go straight? I don't understand. What about us? Okay, well, alright. Alright, that's confusing as hell. She's waving everybody to turn. So everybody's thinking they're supposed to go across. What she was wanting is not to let them go down that road, which I totally get. But at the same time, she's telling everybody to go, so everybody's going, so the people in my lane can't go straight.
Hello.
Hey YouTube, it's motomattman. I just left Just for Fun Honda in Middlefield, Ohio, and I'm out for a little ride here. It's 11 o'clock, well, almost 10 after 11 a.m. on May the 1st, and it's over 70 degrees. Now it's supposed to rain later on this afternoon, so like I keep saying, the way our weather keeps fluctuating up and down, you know, with one front coming in and another one replacing it and all of that mess, it creates a real windy situation. But anyway, it's 70 degrees, or over 70 degrees. So I was able to bust out the Alpine Stars jacket. You know, it made me really excited. All the stupid little things in life make you excited. It made me really excited when I got ready to get on the bike today, and I was able to go in the closet and pull out the Alpine Stars textile jacket. It was awesome. But anyway, that's not really the topic for today. The topic for today, and this kind of goes along with me just walking out of a motorcycle dealership, was I wanted to talk about starter bikes, beginner bikes, whatever you want to call them. To be honest with you, I really hate the term starter bike or beginner bike, because it kind of implies that that's all they're good for, is just starting out. I see other YouTubers talking about this and talking about how, you know, you start on this bike and then you're gonna outgrow it, and you know, and then you move on to the next bike. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about is some of these small displacement bikes, or bikes that are great to begin riding on, you don't necessarily outgrow. You just repurpose them for something else, and it's very easy to do. Give you a good example. We'll start with, since I'm on the VFR, we'll start with the small displacement sport bikes, like a Yamaha R3 or a CBR 300 or 500. Look, will you get tired of just riding a 300cc sport bike on the street? Yeah, probably. But here's the thing. Those bikes are great in the way they handle. They are super lightweight. They've got a good amount of power. You can take them on the highway. They turn really well. They stop phenomenally because of how light they are. Once you feel like you've outgrown one of those bikes on the street, you can turn it into a track bike. It's one of those things, to be honest with you. I was thinking about getting a dedicated track bike, and I don't, you know, I'm not going to be the next Valentino Rossi or Marc Marquez, so there's no reason for me to have a 1000cc or even a 600cc track bike. I want to go out on the track and I want to have fun. That's what I want to do. So what I've been knocking around is the idea of getting a used R3 or CBR 300 or Ninja 250, 300, 400. And yes, I'm just going around in a circle like a goofball. We're here in Burton. Let's turn this way. What the heck? But my thought was just turn one into a dedicated track bike, go out on the track and have a blast. It's a great way to either learn the skills necessary, or like in my case, I need to relearn those skills and hone my skills a little bit better. It's been a long time since I've been on the track. And you'll actually be able to push the bike. You know, you go out and you get, for a beginner bike, you go out and you get a BMW S1000 RR or, you know, a Ducati V4, and you're not going to use 90% of what that bike is capable of doing. Most people are never going to use 70% of what that bike is capable of doing. You know, so in my opinion is you're better off getting a bike that you can actually use and learn on and push. And then if you want to move up to a bigger bike, go ahead. But just remember, you don't have to. You know, the same thing is true for a Harley Sportster or an Indian Scout or a Yamaha Bolt. You know, any of those bikes. Those bikes could be forever bikes. Mrs. Motomattman absolutely loves hers. I've got a 1200 Sporty that I don't plan on ever getting rid of. It's perfect for what I use it for. I'm not gonna go ride cross country on that bike. You know, if for some reason I felt the need that I wanted to take my Sportster to Daytona Bike Week or to Sturgis, I'm sorry, y'all can call me a wimp all you want, but I'm putting it on a trailer. I ain't riding it all the way to the Dakotas or to Florida. That ain't happening. But it's great for knocking around town, going on some back roads, going to bike night, you know, just screwing around on. It's great for that. That's what it was intended for. Now you've got some other bikes. If you don't feel comfortable getting, you want a sporty bike and you don't feel like getting a 300cc, I'll be honest with you, just about every one of the motorcycle manufacturers at this point makes like a Ninja 650 or a CBR 650, which are bigger displacement bike, but they're twins. They're just 2 cylinders, not 4 cylinders. They are great bikes, but you're not going to have the same acceleration, the same throttle response or whatever as you do on the CBR 600 RR or the Ninja 600 RR or GSXR or any of that. They're not super sports. They also have a more upright riding position, and there's absolutely no reason that you would ever have to get rid of it. I mean, give you an example, Walterific, the YouTuber, he got rid of his Ninja 650 and then went back and bought another one because he loved it so much. And he's also got a KTM Super Duke now, but you can see that there's no reason that you have to get rid of the thing. And he rides that bike on trips. I mean, he goes on, when he was living in Kansas, he was riding that thing to Colorado. You know, so, you know, if you're interested in a bike like that, check out his channel. Now, I mentioned the Yamaha R3. Motomattman on his channel did an R3 build-up where he turned it into like a super naked. And it turned out pretty cool. And that bike looked like it'd be a blast to ride. And he did high-speed runs and everything else on that. You know, so there's another one. If you're interested in something like that, check out his channel. You know, now we'll go back to some of the other bikes. I'll be honest with you, one of my favorite bikes for people to learn how to ride on is a dual purpose. Not an adventure bike necessarily. They tend to be a little bit bigger and heavier. Nothing against adventure bikes. They are awesome. Just not necessarily the bike that I would pick for a beginner bike, and here's the reason why. That dual purpose bike is light. It's basically a dirt bike with lights and mirrors and so forth. A little bit detuned, a little bit quieter exhaust, not quite as obnoxious. Not that obnoxious exhausts are bad. And any of y'all that have heard my bikes on YouTube know that my exhausts are kind of obnoxious. But anyway, the point is you could take it in your yard and learn the basics. You could take it and go out in a field or a pasture or something and learn how to ride. Go out in the woods and learn how to ride it. And if you drop it, they're made for that. The plastics are forgiving. They're going to bend. They're not necessarily going to break. You know, I mean, obviously, if you hit a tree, different story. But, you know, how many times have you watched Supercross and seen, you know, somebody with a nasty spill and the bike end up being just fine? You know, so that's one of the good things about it. The other thing is even after you've learned how to ride, you still can. Anyway, back to what I was saying before my phone rang. You can take the bike and you can ride it in the woods. You can ride it on the trails. You can ride it in town. They're great for commuting. They get awesome gas mileage. You can take them on the highway. Back in the day, I had a Suzuki SP200 that I loved, and I'd love to find another one. I mean, it was a great bike. I used to take it on the highway all the time. I commuted 45 minutes each way to work and back on the highway in the Virginia Beach area. Riding from Virginia Beach to Newport News, Virginia, on a daily basis on that bike. Rode it commuting from Virginia Beach to Portsmouth, Virginia as well. I rode that thing all over the place. Rode it out down to the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Now, one of the things I did do to mine is after a while, when it was time to get new tires, I went ahead and put street tires on it and created turned it into a supermoto, which at the time there was no such thing. So I was kind of ahead of the curve with that one. But they're awesome for that. They're great to learn on. Now, they're not the best bike for somebody that's vertically challenged to learn on. And that's because of the seat height. But only because of the seat height. But they are an awesome bike that you can keep forever. You know, because it is a blast every once in a while. Take your bike off-road. And here's the cool thing. Unlike my dirt bike, where if I'm taking it to go ride someplace, I have to put it on a trailer or in the bed of my truck. Oh, this is awesome. There's not a flagger out here, so I guess I'm going. But I have to put it on a trailer or put it in the bed of my truck to take it to go off-road. Whereas if you have a dual purpose, you just ride it to go off-road. You know, so that's one of the big advantages of that as well. But anyway, you know, you've got all kinds of choices out there as far as what to start on, and you don't have to necessarily move up. What the? Okay, so why couldn't I go straight? I don't understand. What about us? Okay, well, alright, that's confusing as hell. She's waving everybody to turn. So everybody's thinking they're supposed to go across. What she was wanting is not to let them go down that road, which I totally get. But at the same time, she's telling everybody to go, so everybody's going, so the people in my lane can't go straight. Because the people turning were thinking that she was telling them to go ahead and turn, and then she was holding us. I mean, that's freaking ridiculous. But anyway, back to the bikes to begin on, or to start your riding adventure on. Take some time and look at all of the different bikes. Get an idea of what you want. Go to the dealerships and sit on the bikes, and then, to be perfectly honest, my recommendation is go online. Go to Craigslist, go to Cycle Trader, or go to the dealerships and look at the used bikes. But don't start off with a new bike, and here's why. Just like when you buy a new car, they depreciate as soon as you sign the paperwork. Before the ink is even dry, the things depreciate. The other thing is you don't know if you're gonna like it. You don't know if that's necessarily the bike for you. You can go online and you can get bikes to begin on. You know, even if you're wanting a Harley, look, Cool, awesome, get it, got one. I understand the whole deal. But if you're learning to ride, go online, find you a Yamaha Bolt. It's kind of a Sportster. I mean, it's a V-twin like a Sportster is, but you can get them cheap. And I mean cheap. Go online, get a Ninja 250 or CBR 250. You can get them cheap. And by cheap, I mean like under $2 grand. Cheap. Ride it. If you don't like it, you turn around and sell it. And let me tell you something. You go out and you buy yourself a Ninja 250 and you learn on a Ninja 250 and you ride the thing for 6 months and you put it on Craigslist, guess what? You paid $2 grand for the bike, you put it on Craigslist, you sell it for $2 grand, you get the $2 grand back. These things change hands on a regular basis on these smaller displacement bikes. Or you do like I had mentioned before, you turn it into a track bike. Get use out of it. Enjoy the thing. You know? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but man, I don't think it's possible to have too many bikes. I just don't. My wife will disagree with me. She's just fine having one. If I had my way, I'd have me a 60 by 100 pole barn that was full of bikes. You know, but anyway, the point is don't spend a ton of money on the first bike, what you're going to learn on. You know, even if you find that you love this sport, this hobby, which is awesome, the bike may not be the bike for you. One of the things is you could start off on a sport bike and find that the riding position is uncomfortable and you don't like the riding position, so you want a different bike. So you change bikes. You could, by the same token, have all of your buddies are riding sport bikes and you buy a cruiser and decide, you know what, man, this bike is fun, it's a blast, but all my buddies are going out on the back roads and carving up the back roads and dragging their knee and pretending like they're Street Rossi or something, you know. So you change bike. You want to change bikes. Don't put a ton of money into it. But don't think that you have to buy a big displacement bike because you're afraid you're going to outgrow it. Even if you do decide to get rid of your smaller displacement bikes, there is probably as big a market for them, if not bigger, than for most other bikes. Like I said, they change hands on a regular basis. You know, the other thing is you can repurpose them for something else. You know, but again, don't feel like you got to get the big bore bike. Don't feel like you've got to trade in the bike you learned on, that you can't continue to ride it. You can. And I hope this rambling nonsense that I've done here is helpful. If you got any questions, put them in the comments. You know, I love getting comments on my videos. If you like what you see, you know, punch the like and subscribe button and mash that bell so you get notifications whenever I upload new content. And as always, remember, keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down. I hope everybody has a great day, and I hope the weather is as glorious where you are as it is here, at least for now. Have a great day.